You look around this room, and this meeting was advertised in Little Rock, North Little Rock, Conway, Maumelle, an area of 500,000 people, and you all are the ones that showed up. This is the whole reason we're here, is to talk about what we would do. When we actually started this a couple of years ago, we started it with promises made, promises kept. And we did that with the legislature and the governor last year and talked about the things that we had been given the benefit of from the issue that passed in 2011 for the interstates and the issue in 2012 of the half-cent sales tax. The current half-cent sales tax, the way it was referred to the people, was specifically for major improvements. It's 300 or so miles of improvements around the state. There's a lot more need than that, and that's the reason when they referred this one, they did not specify it for a specific type of project. It is wide open to be able to make a lot more improvements. The accountability part, there is a Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee that's part of the Arkansas Legislative Council that we provide reports to every quarter. We go and meet with them every quarter. We tell them, these are the things that we told you we were going to do, these are the things that we have done. We give them a report on projects and where those projects stand as far as completion. All that information is on our website. All that information is extremely readily available. As far as the accountability, we're accountable to you, the people. If we weren't doing what we needed to do, those issues wouldn't have passed in 2011 and 2012. If we weren't doing what we needed to do, the legislature that you elected to represent you in Little Rock wouldn't have passed these issues. The $95 billion that's already flowing through us and the possibility for you to decide on this half-cent general sales tax. I understand what Mr. Ray is saying about a tax increase. The reason it's shown that way is because right now the state general sales tax is 6.5%. If this passes July 1st, 2023, it's still going to be 6.5%. You are not going to pay any more taxes than what you're paying today in the sales tax. So I understand what you're saying about that, but that's the reason it's shown that way. As far as being in the Constitution, I mentioned this earlier on, we don't have the authority to raise revenue ourselves. This is the issue, the way the legislature has presented it. The issue in 2012 was attached to a bond issue, financing. So you borrowed money, you paid it off over that 10 years. What we found out was we paid a pretty significant amount of that revenue coming in financing costs. About 24% of our revenue from the current half-cent sales tax goes to financing costs. For that reason, we really didn't want to do that again. We wanted this to be a pay-as-you-go issue so that all of that revenue would be able to be spent out on the road. So the issue of it being a constitutional amendment, not a constitutional amendment, that's the issue that the legislature has provided to us. So we're really just talking about what we'll be able to do with that. As far as the old website saying the best highways in the country, I remember specifically saying if the interstate program in 2011 passed, we would have among some of the best interstates in the country. We never said, and if it was on the website, it was reported that way incorrectly. We never said if the half-cent sales tax passed in 2012, we would have among the best highways in the country because we were only able to do work on about 300 or 400 miles of them, or however many. I mean, it was less than 1,000 miles of our 16,000 mile system. So that may have been reported incorrectly on the website. The statement that we made about the best highways in the country was specifically about our interstate system because that's what was voted on in 2011. Concerning being number 3 in state and local taxes, I also mentioned that we're 41st in highway revenue. So you have to look at this 2 different ways. And remember one of the first charts we showed, the growth in state general revenue and the way highway revenue is. So we might be number 3 in state and local taxes, and I think that's if you add the highest local tax rate to the state tax rate, and that's not necessarily the case for everywhere. As far as building I-49 and I-69, there are no tech projects in this upcoming program. There's a significant amount of money on I-49 in the western part of the state and on I-69. I-49 and I-69 are each about $5.5 billion projects. There's not enough money in this program to do those. So we are concentrating on taking care of what we have. The traffic that we have now is on Interstate 40. If you drive Interstate 40 from here to West Memphis, you've experienced it every day. If you drive highways in central Arkansas, if you drive Highway 100, you experience it every day. We have to be able to take care of what we have from a congestion standpoint too. As far as advertising being exempt from state and local taxes, that's probably something that you will want to run by your legislator, because this is the issue that we've been given again. So again, the accountability part of it, I can't tell you how many times we meet with either individual legislators or in a group, but again, as part of a previous issue, they established this Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee to make sure that the things we were doing are